What a Monday morning to wake up to. You know, I didn't watch the Oscars. I used to be the guy who told everybody that they need to watch the Oscars. And then, like, after a while, I was like, because I felt that the Oscars needed to be watched because despite the fact that, you might not be all about Hollywood and all that stuff, it still represents a huge stage that we need to pay attention to. But then even the Hollywood actors started to misrepresent the stage, and it became completely irrelevant to watch it. And even I, like the guy who was like, we should probably pay attention to this, stopped paying attention. It was going to die in obscurity as far as I was concerned. These people could, and everyone was tuning out. Everybody. But then, man, I wake up on Monday morning, and what do I see? I see Chris Rock getting smacked upside the head by Will Smith. What a way to wake up to Monday. Like, I had no idea it happened. Last night, you know what I was doing last night? Last night, I was playing Tarkov. I was playing Escape from Tarkov, minding my own business, just kind of enjoy. I was watching Pay Money Wubby while I was playing Tarkov. I was in bliss, just kind of having some me time, kind of, because I had a very busy weekend. It was a very fun weekend. Lots of big things happened this weekend. So I was just minding my own business, not watching the Oscars, just kind of in my own little land. Watching my favorite streamers, playing my favorite game. Just kind of, having me time. So I had no idea this occurred. And then I wake up this morning and people are like, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I was like, oh my God. Finally, the Oscars did something worth seeing. I love it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Red State Live. It is a gorgeous Monday morning where I am. I hope it is where you are as well. What's up, Dennis? What's up, Noob? What's up, John? What's up, Pickled Squirrel? What's up, Brad? How you guys doing, man? Can I just say again that your article on Nerdrotic's video and Nerdrotic's video were superb on this. Thank you. We are going to get into that. We're going to talk about that today because, of course, what ended up happening after this happened was Twitter, decided to get up on its soapbox because Twitter has to. And it started to preach about the fact that, this only happened because of toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. I argue that no, it was not toxic masculinity. This was the complete and total lack of masculinity to begin with. And we're going to get into that here in a second. First, I have to acknowledge something. Well, let me say this first. If you haven't done it yet, do me a favor, like the stream, so that way the Twitter algorithm, the gods, treat us at least a little bit more kindly. And also, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe. Press the subscription button. Subscription button. I can speak English good. And give us a nice little follow. Make sure that anytime we go live, you know that by hitting the bell notification. But I want to do this because there's one thing that I freaking love. It's the streaming community. Immediately, this is what I see. Dr. Disrespect. Dr. Disrespect slaps Tim the Tap Man, but the funny part is apparently they both showed up to the party wearing the same thing because Tim the Tap Man That's beautiful. That's absolutely gorgeous. God. These two guys are like some of my favorite streamers. I watch Dr. Disrespect pretty religiously. Great guy. If you need somebody to watch when you're not watching me, hit up the doc. He's great. English as a second language. What's my first language then? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. I speak some sort of gibberish. But let's not get totally distracted by America's latest pet pretty shiny object. What, is this the pretty shiny object? I would argue it's not that pretty. A dumpster fire? Yeah, absolutely. You avoid most of the ceremonies? Yeah. I do too. I avoided the show entirely last night and could not get away from it. I think that here's the thing. Let's just talk about this real fast, okay? I feel like we need to address. I'd almost rather watch the Japanese version of it, which does have. Let me see if I can find it. The Japanese version. Okay, so here in America, whenever that slap happened at the Oscars, they cut the audio. But Japan was like, nah, bro. We're here. We're here for it. And so, let me see if I can't. Let me see. Oh, yep, here it is right here. Okay, so let's just go over what happened real fast. Just so that we're all caught up, in case you haven't seen it yourself. And you need a reminder. Here's what went down. Oh, is this only going to cut to that? Okay. Then let's go ahead and watch the beginning of this first. You know, we'll watch the American version first, and then we'll cut to the Japanese version.
He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
All right, first off, that's the joke. That was the joke. Okay? It's not that big of a deal. Will Smith is even laughing. Look at it. He is having a good time. And let's keep in mind, Will Smith and Chris Rock aren't exactly strangers. They're actually they've been in many events together. They're actually kind of friends, right? So you have Will Smith laughing. You can't see it because of this. Here's Jada Pinkett Smith over here, right? Watch her face while Will Smith is. She suddenly doesn't think it's that funny. Will Smith is still laughing. Still laughing, right? And Chris Rock sees her reaction. He's like, come on. I'm just kidding. Obviously, like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. Chris Rock is look, it wasn't even that bad of a joke. I realized that Jada Pinkett Smith has, like, alopecia. I think that she's, like, losing her hair or something like that. But, I mean, like, it was a joke among friends as far as I bet Chris Rock was concerned. He didn't really mean anything by it. He wasn't actually trying to be hurtful. Chris Rock is, in my opinion, I mean, when he wants to be funny, he's actually pretty funny. And this is one of those moments where he was trying to make light out of something serious, which is what comedians are supposed to do. This is what they do. And it's perfect. I mean, like, I consider that part of our society, the comedy part of our society, to be a public service. Because comedy stops the creation of sacred cows. Sometimes you have to make fun of something or point out the ridiculousness of something in order for something to not grow into an uncontrollable mass of nonsense. South Park is an excellent example of this. They lampoon everything and point out the ridiculousness of everything, no matter what it is. And it stops that group from being taken so seriously that they can pretty much do whatever they want in our society. And to give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about, look at how we were not allowed to make any jokes or crack any kind of, like, remotely humorous comment about the transgender community. We weren't allowed to do that, but after a time, the transgender community found out that they were absolutely untouchable. And because of that, now they had, like, naked men taking pictures next to children. They've got they're now in our schools trying to introduce gender fluidity to kids and basically opening the door wide, very wide, for the sexualization of children and pedophilia. They're trying to openly do this now. I mean, I showed you guys the video a few streams ago of the lady who now is, like, trying to sexualize children. This is what happens when you don't allow people to be made fun of. So comedians do a thing, and sometimes it hurts. It's okay. In these little, like, these Oscar ceremonies and stuff like that, you're gonna get, some people might get roasted. It's like a tradition. Some people are going to get roasted, especially from a guy like Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a comedian who is, I mean, he makes fun of everybody, right? And there like, no one told him things were off limits. He just kind of drew that line himself, which, okay, fine. You can do that. But the fact that Jada Pinkett Smith reacted like she did, and Chris Rock is like, like, he's actually confused, right? He's like, I didn't mean anything by that. Like, it just seems like he didn't expect people to take it so seriously, and no one should have, right? What's up, Squirrel? How you doing? Put the video from the Oscars, from the audio from the original Ninja Warrior announcers. Oh, is that a thing? Somebody find me that. Somebody find me that. I need to watch that. The domestic Oscars broadcast has long had a 10-second delay. So, yeah, that was all. That was it. That was all Chris Rock said. I mean, Chris Rock. That was all he said, Pickled Squirrel. When do we get to the meme version where the slap gets stuck on a loop with shooting stars? African-American women are the one of the few people who look amazing bald. I know. I mean, I can't pull that off, but they do, actually. Black women, y'all can go bald and it looks amazing. I don't get it. I can't pull that off. White women can't pull that off. Comedy is the canary in the coal mine. Very good way of putting it. Where was the security when Will Smith was watching? Okay, so John, I want to tackle that. Would you expect someone to slap Will Smith on stage? I want to tackle that in just a second. But let's go ahead and continue.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard.
See, he thinks, Chris Rock at this point in time thinks that like things are jocular. It's like he called him Richard because, he was acting like King Richard, the protective dad, yada, 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 whatever. He still thinks that, something funny is about to happen maybe. And then Will Smith goes, he goes all Independence Day on him. He goes Big Willie style. He gives him a nice welcome to Earth. Okay. And then he walks away. And okay, so that's where the audio cuts. All right, so let's go to the Japanese version just real fast.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, by the way, just real fast, language warning. You guys are all adults. Language warning.
Smack the shit out of me.
Okay. So at this point in time, Chris Rock is taking this in stride. He just got slapped upside the head. And Will Smith, who was laughing a second ago, is now very angry. So Chris Rock is clearly confused.
Dude. It was a G.I. Jane joke.
G.I. Jane no joke だったんです。
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
This is a man who is clearly in shock. He is shocked. He doesn't know what to do. He's trying to maintain composure. He is trying to kind of keep the atmosphere. He's trying to do his job still.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Being a comedian, he still makes a joke. He's a professional.
So we are here to give a documentary out.
So he is clearly shocked. He's trying to compose himself. He's trying to reach for the thing that he's supposed to do.
Give an Oscar.
So here's the thing. 1 second. Tinfoil hat moment. The Oscars have been very much so losing people in droves. No one wants to watch it anymore. Okay? It has been losing. We have been covering it on Red State forever. The amount of viewership that each Oscars has been getting lower and lower and lower and lower. Like to the point where it's pretty sad. Right? You have like Tucker Carlson competing. It's that bad. Okay? What better way to get people to tune in than to I like this. Than to have him slap Chris Rock on stage and create this big giant to-do about all it. And here's the thing. If you look at the slap, it's a stage slap. It is a stage slap. Will Smith was doing something that you would see in movies, I think. Now, this could have been fake. This could have all been fake. And I want to acknowledge the fact that this is a little much. It's so much that it seems that it could very well be an act. Because it definitely got people to pay attention to the Oscars again. Okay? Normally, at Red State, I've gotten to the point where I would just cover the Oscars if somebody said something stupid, which is always the case. Or its ratings. Right? I worry about its ratings, or not worry about it. I report on its ratings, because usually the ratings are always, yep, this thing is tanking. Now, everyone's going to be like, man, if this happens at the Oscars, what's going to happen at the next one? Maybe I should tune in more. That's my tinfoil hat theory. That, yes, that part of my theory is, yes, this probably was fake. It could very well be fake, because now people are paying attention to it. It's great drama, okay? But do I think it's fake? No. I actually don't. It could be, but I don't think it is. Chris Rock was clearly shocked. And here's something I wanted to point out. Here's Will Smith. Look at him. What do you see? Some people will say, I see an angry dude. And in that he's, he's got righteous fury about his wife. I don't see that at all. There's something here in his face that does not say anger. Something in his face says that he's supposed to be angry, and he's trying to connect to that anger, and it's not working out. Like he's acting right now. And not acting because this might be fake, acting because he feels like he has to do this in this moment. Because remember, just a second ago, he was laughing at the joke from Chris Rock about Jada Pinkett Smith. He was laughing about it. It wasn't until he found out that Jada Pinkett Smith wasn't happy about this joke that Will got into this mode right here. Something tells me that this dude didn't necessarily want to do that. He felt he had to do that. And that's why I'm kind of, I think it really was real. All of this was real. But in a way, the rage from Smith wasn't real. I think he felt that it was necessary to do that. That he had to put, and here's, I'm going to get into why right now. Where was security when? I bet no one wanted to go up there because John, to answer your question, where was the security? I bet that when Will Smith started walking up there, people thought that something hilarious was about to happen. That there was going to be some fakeness going, like some fake roughhousing maybe, or, maybe Will Smith was going to do something in the King Richard character. Who knows? Like no one expected this from Will Smith, one of the most jovial dudes. I grew up watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Even when Will Smith was being a badass on screen, he was hilarious. He was in Independence Day, and he was the masculine pilot, right? But he also was like funny during those times. Okay, like this is the guy who everyone turned to if they wanted to have a good time. Because Will Smith was the life of the party. He never brought anybody down. He always seemed to be very uplifting. No one probably expected Will Smith to go up and smack somebody. Like smack him. So no, security probably wasn't going to move because they thought that something hilarious was, Will Smith's going up on stage. Man, I can't wait to see what he does. The gag is now done. The joke is done. Yeah. Adults physically, mentally, not so much, but I'm speaking for myself. This is nervous laughter. Conspiracy time. Yeah, I broke out the hat. It gives a boost to a dead show. Exactly, Dennis. I could see how this, definitely, no matter how you swing it, this is going to help the Oscars. This is going to help it. Now that this kind of drama is bound to happen at the Oscars, dude, people are going to tune in next year. Guaranteed, more people are going to tune in next year than last. If we wanted to watch a circle jerk, we'd crank up one of those spicy sites. That's why a lot of people tuned out, is because we're just tired of watching these rich people pat each other on the back. I think that it was Ricky Gervais, actually, who put out, like, one of the best... he actually kind of called it before... Let me see. I think Ricky Gervais called it. Yep, he did. He said he'll be asleep during tonight's Oscars, shares how do you open if hosting. I'll get to that in a second. But I don't know, man. It's just very uncharacteristic of Will Smith, and I think I know why. I think I know why he did it. Over 40 million viewers 15 years ago, less than 9 million. Yeah, see, that's a lot. That's a big drop-off, Brad. He was suppressing a grin as he was walking back to his seat. Yeah, maybe. He had several outlets to bring class to this moment. The easiest was just to take the joke. Alternatively, he could have given his hand to his wife and just walked out without swearing, telling them all off. So, yeah, I again, Brad, I mean, he might have been suppressing a grin. I don't know. Maybe maybe it was fake. I don't know. But there was clear shock on Chris Rock's face. And, y'all, Chris Rock ain't that good of an actor. He's not that good. And if he was trying to exhibit a sense of shock, like act out a sense of, then that was somebody's hand him an Oscar right then and there. Because that was some of the best acting I've ever seen out of him, at least. By the way, Ricky Gervais says he'll be asleep during tonight's Oscars. Here's how he'd open if he was hosting it. There's one thing Academy... By the way, this is up. Everything is up at Red State right now. RedState.com. Go check it out. Everything I'm going to be talking about is on Red State. Jennifer Van Laar wrote this. There's one thing Academy Awards show producers could do that would dramatically increase viewership they've been unwilling to do, and that's to allow someone to host who is actually funny and who won't use the gig as a platform for 3 hours of virtue signaling. Someone like Ricky Gervais. Back in January, Gervais told the ladies of The View that he would host the Oscars for free, but only under certain conditions. I might be allowed to host the Oscars if I did what I was told, but there's the rub, Gervais said when Sonny Hostin asked him about his hesitation. The good thing about the Globes was that they said I could write my own jokes, say what I want, and not rehearse. And that is just too good for a comedian to turn down. Whereas I don't think the Oscars would ever allow me that freedom, and rightly so. I think they would be mad. But Gervais admitted that if the Academy agreed to those rules, I'd definitely do it. I'd do it for free. And then Ricky Gervais went on to give one of the best, if y'all haven't seen the Golden Globes speech that he gave, and it was a constant rip apart of these celebrities, and they needed it as far as I'm concerned. Somebody asked him, can you do more of these tweets during the Oscars? And this was after Ricky Gervais kind of pronounced what he would be saying. He said, I'm proud to announce that this has been the most diverse and progressive Oscars ever. Looking out, I see people from all walks of life, every demographic under the sun, except poor people, obviously. F them. And somebody tweeted, can you do more of these tweets during the Oscars? And Ricky Gervais straight up said, I'll be asleep. God, I love this guy. I don't agree with like a lot of the stuff that he says, but man, this is one of the things that he just, I love him so much about on this, man. Good for him. Good for him. Okay, so back to Will Smith. My impression of it is that it's an artifact of something private going on. I'm not of a mind to pry deep into it, but others will be. Well, you know, I mean, they wanted people to watch. Because if people watch, and you know, not only is it great advertising for the jewelry makers and the dress makers and all that stuff, it's great advertising for the movies that they give awards to. You know, would you have seen The Shape of Water without the Oscars like saying, hey, it's really great, go watch it? Probably not. The only reason I watched The Shape of Water is because it won an Oscar. And I wanted to see what all the hype was about. By the way, Shape of Water, weird movie. Not into fish sex. I wrote this after watching what happened. The issue isn't toxic masculinity, it's the lack of masculinity. Now, I want to kind of dive into the issue that I'm seeing with Will Smith. And I kind of think that the issue isn't just with Will Smith. It's this entire society that we currently live in. Now, given I don't take too much to the modern mainstream ideas about how things should be, about how, you know, their outlooks on men and women. I'm what you might call a trad in many ways. Many ways. When I look at men and women, I think that there are certain things that we can be assured of about our natures. And that this whole entire idea that, men and women are completely interchangeable is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I do not agree with it for 5 minutes. There are exceptions to rules, of course, but for the most part, men are men, women are women. And the one thing that men have in droves, they are the primary representations of, is masculinity. Now, masculinity being one of the defining factors of men, it's naturally going to come under attack by people who want to take society for themselves. You will notice that the radical social justice, woke culture, hard leftists constantly attack masculinity. They want men to be less masculine. If you look out, and they're very open about it. They want masculinity to be made out to be this dangerous, nasty, bothersome, problematic thing. They've got magazines filled with men dressing up like women. You have celebrities promoting it. Like Henry Styles, who decided that he was going to put on dresses for this shoot. I think it was, I can't remember if it was with GQ. GQ did something with another artist too, where they wore a bunch of dresses and put on makeup and carried around purses and stuff like that. And they were trying to call it the new masculinity. You had Gillette release an entire video, which I'm going to get to in a second, that focused on the toxic masculinity of men, and then proceeded to show us all these things that just men do, like normal stuff, like non-violent, non-bothersome things, just like the regular stuff that we do, that we're supposed to do, and they called it toxic. They're trying to put men as a sex on the back foot. Because think about it. If you are trying to take over society, if you're trying to impose your rule on other people, what is one of the things that you want to do? You want to eliminate the biggest problem in your way, and that is masculine men. It's hard to take over society when you've got masculine men there calling the shots, defending the people, defending their homes, defending their family. They're trying to constantly demasculate men. Men play such an important role in society, and mainstream modern culture will tell you that men are toxic, that they're horrible, that they need to change, that they're the patriarchy, and they're always trying to subdue and subject and all this stuff. And that's just not true. Men and their masculinity have kept both the literal and the proverbial wolves in the hills since we were in caves. We built society. Okay? Masculinity built society. We keep society. We keep it safe. Okay? Do you think it's any... Look at the crime that is currently rising all over the country. The lack of people. They did a poll recently, what would happen if Russia or China invaded, and you saw many people just go, I would not do a thing. I wouldn't defend my country. It is a complete lack of masculinity that is plaguing this country, or at least one of the things that is. And men need to come back and understand what they are. Now, you see Will Smith display a complete lack of masculinity. They call it toxic masculinity, what Will Smith just displayed. No, I say it is a complete lack of masculinity. I'm just going to go ahead and dive in to this for you guys. In all honesty, Chris Rock was doing these celebrities a favor while many sit jobless after having their livelihoods destroyed by lockdown measures. Quite a few of them supported. It would do well for these actors to be a bit more humanized as they flaunt their fame and wealth in front of everyone during an hours-long back-patting circle. Ricky Gervais seemed to get that point, but I digress. The moment has now kicked up a conversation on Twitter with an old feminist favorite hashtag making a return in the form of, quote, toxic masculinity. Looking at Smith's violence against Rock, many are proclaiming that it was the dastardly toxic masculinity that drove Smith to violence. Of course, this will inevitably lead to people declaring that we need to have a conversation about how men in our culture are unrefined, dangerous, and more, and that in order to curb this problem, we need to raise our boys to be less prone to this toxic behavior. You'll notice that they're trying to eliminate boyhood. And they have been trying to eliminate boyhood for years. I can remember back when I was in 5th grade, they said that I had ADD, and they started shoving pills down my throat. They said I had ADD, which maybe I have it, maybe I don't. I don't know. It's hard to tell nowadays because the more I watch boys do what they do, the more it seems like they all have ADD. Because boys are very kinetic creatures. It's hard to get them to sit still for even for 5 minutes to do something. Because they want to get up, they want to run, they want to jump. They want to do something kinetic. This is why recess was so important. Recess growing up was so important because it allowed boys to go out there and do what they do. Socialize, run, jump, climb, do all these things that they needed to do in order to be fulfilled as a child. Now, I'm not saying that girls don't have that too. They absolutely do, but not to the level that boys do. A girl can sit and have a tea party with her dolls or her friends. You know, they can sit and converse and conversate, and that's how they have a lot of fun. Boys tend to gravitate more toward action, towards movement. That's just the way they are. Now, if you are a teacher and you're trying to teach a classroom of boys, right? And one of them or multiple of them can't sit still. You know, they're antsy, they're movement, they're loud, they talk, they just want to do something. You would probably get frustrated because they're interrupting the class, right? Okay. A bunch of schools got together and decided to start shoving pills down boys' throats to make them behave more like the girls in the class. Which is what happened to me. You know, when I was a kid, when I was in 5th grade, they did that to me. Did I have ADD? I don't know. Probably not. I learned later that many boys in high school were diagnosed with ADD. That pill screwed me up, dude. And I am to this day very prejudiced against the public school system for it. And it turned out later that there was like some kickbacks that the school was getting for putting kids on ADD medication. You'll notice that like there was a steady line for Ritalin prescriptions, and then around the time that I was in 5th grade, you saw it go hockey stick up, right? They are treating boys like defective girls. That is a psychologist said that once when it came to this. And my overall point is that they are attempting to morph young boys into more obedient people. Less boy-like. Less kinetic. Less movement-oriented. Less boyish. They're trying to take these things away. And this whole entire talk of toxic masculinity, teaching children at a young age, which you'll see the Gillette. I'm gonna play this Gillette commercial here in a second because I think it perfectly sums up the feminist stance about things. But I'll continue with this real fast. I kind of got stun locked on that for a second. Looking at Smith's violence against The Rock, many are proclaiming that it was that dastardly toxic masculinity that drove Smith to violence. Of course, this will inevitably lead to people declaring that we need to have a conversation about how men in our culture are unrefined, dangerous, and more. In order to curb the problem, we need to raise our boys to be less prone to this toxic behavior. In other words, they'll want to kick up the arguments that were summed up by Gillette in its disastrous commercial aimed at the toxic nature of men, a commercial that lost them billions of dollars. Again, we'll get to that in a second. But what I saw on stage from Smith wasn't toxic masculinity. In fact, I didn't see much masculinity at all. What I saw was insecurity, confusion, anger, and a total lack of self-confidence. It was the exact opposite of masculinity. Hey, April, how's it going? Speaking of men in dresses, Ukraine is turning trans women back from the border. No man can leave the country. I'm surprised that this left hasn't started screeching about it. The virtues that they hold really are subjective to the situation. They will ditch their virtues in the hard leftists. They will ditch their virtues in a second if it means that they will benefit from it in some way. Anyone remember the bull elephant principle? The older male elephant keeps the younger ones in line. No older elephant means the younger ones going on rampages. Funny enough, actually, Pickled Squirrel, something like that did kind of happen. after Will Smith did the slap. I sense racism coming from these Twitter twits. I don't doubt it. The ironic twist was Amy Schumer joked against toxic masculinity opening monologue. Is that she is a one-trick pony? I swear. Put a bunch of exercise bikes in all male classrooms. You'll be a hell of a lot more successful teaching them. Yeah, probably. Here's what I would say: more recess. More recess. For every 15 minutes of class time, 15 minutes of recess. That means that half the day ends up with kids playing outside and just having fun and doing kinetic things, playing games, then yes, do that. Because a lot of the stuff that they're teaching kids nowadays is going to be forgotten. Teach them to read, write, do arithmetic, add, subtract, divide, a little bit of history, a little bit of social studies, and send them on their way. Get out of their hair for the rest of the day. They don't play outside as much, and boys aren't allowed to wrestle to figure out the pecking order, so to say. And yes, schools get more money for kids with special needs. Yeah, see? So sad. What's up, Carrie? Welcome. To create more perfect sheeple. Hollyweird has no real men. I disagree with that, April, actually. I think that they do, and I'm going to cover that in a second. But what I saw on stage from Smith wasn't toxic masculinity. In fact, I didn't see much masculine. Oh, I already read that. As my colleague Bonchi covered after the hit, it was clear that Smith is going through a very upsetting time. His wife publicly admitted to him being a cuckold during an interview that spread all over the internet. Like a beaten dog, Smith accepted her unfaithfulness with tears in his eyes. Later on, he would make excuses for her, declaring that his allowing her to have an open relationship outside of their marriage was the, quote, highest definition of love. Masculinity is many things. It's strength, confidence, patience, and virtue. It's capable of bringing order out of pure chaos. It's masculinity that has kept the proverbial and little wolves in the hills since we were in caves. Masculinity can end wars and bring peace. It's then masculinity that keeps that peace. It brings safety and comfort to households and communities. One good man with proper masculinity on his side can make a dozen evil men think twice about their choices, and it's masculinity that punishes them when they settle on the wrong ones. Moreover, masculinity doesn't feel the need to become violent because of little things, because it knows that if it does, people are going to get hurt. It's confident in its abilities and doesn't need to resort to violence until there's actually a need for it. Smith's household is in total disarray. It's been upended both by his lack of leadership and his ability to draw lines in the sand. He's displaying pure insecurity and allowing his unfaithful wife to dictate his actions. As you can see in this video, Smith originally thought Rock's joke about Pinkett Smith's hair was funny until it was clear that she was upset by it. Instead of calmly reassuring her and de-escalating the situation, Smith decided to make a display of masculinity by defending his offended wife with violence against a man who meant no harm. And someone who I'm up until that moment, I bet he would have considered a friend. You see them in pictures together all the time. But it didn't look manly or masculine. It looked desperate. Smith looked more like a puppet on a string than his own person. The fact that he lacked masculine qualities was on full display as he attempted to make it seem like there was still a man in charge and capable of righting wrongs and being in control in the midst of other men taking his wife to bed. If Smith did have actual masculinity on his side, this never would have happened. By never would have happened, I mean Pinkett Smith would have been left by Smith the moment he discovered her unfaithfulness. If Pinkett Smith showed no regret for her actions and even declared that she would continue letting other men inside her, then Smith would have walked away, confident in the self-respect he deserved. Sure, it would have been painful and it would have left a scar, but at least Smith would have maintained some form of control over his own life and could choose to rebuild from there. I didn't add this, but I feel like I should. If you have kids and your wife is wanting to go with that kind of relationship where it's open and other men can come and have sex with her, and your marital bed is not your marital bed anymore. It's just basically a revolving door. What does it say to your kids when you don't leave your wife and you just go, okay, honey, you can do whatever you want? Something to think about. I'm being told he cheated on her first. If that's the case, okay. Why didn't she leave him? But even then, what kind of message does it send to the kids if no one is remorseful or regretful? What does that say? What message are you giving to the kids by staying and allowing it to continue? Something that I really feel is necessary. Now, Will Smith I don't know if he did cheat on her first. I don't know if he was regretful or anything like that, if he was trying to make it up to her or, he felt whatever. I hope he did. But if he didn't, then he opened the door for this, and that also is a lack of masculinity, in my opinion. Instead, he allows other men to invade his family. His house is insecure and his life is in disarray. He displays no ability to bring order to it, and his failures are written in bold for all to see. To compensate, he attempted to display some sort of control in the form of violence against a man who was trying to make a joke. Smith's violence was due to a lack of masculinity, not the presence of it. It wasn't even, quote, toxic masculinity, a fake word made up by feminists to make even the innocent things men do out to be problematic. Smith needs to retake control of his own life and do that. What he'll need to step away, and to do that, he'll need to step away from these modern ideas about what a relationship and a modern man looks like. He needs to take control of his life. He clearly needs to take control of his life. And I feel that one of the best ways to lose control of it is to basically allow other men to sleep with your wife. I think that she is, and whatever you do, like if it's a kink for you guys, whatever. I'm not talking about the kink. I'm talking about clearly Will Smith does not want this to happen, and yet he is continuing to let it happen. It is clearly putting him into a world of hurt. I don't think he believes that it's the highest form of devotion. Not even a little bit. I think it's going to send his life and his family's lives spinning out of control. And I think that what you saw on stage when he hit Chris Rock was him trying to exert some sort of control in some way. Because you got to think, this guy has been piled on by the general public about his wife cuckolding him all the time. Piled on. He probably has felt emasculated, and he is emasculated. And men, emasculation is a horrible thing for a man to endure. Because it attacks masculinity. It attacks our very essence. Will Smith has had his very essence attacked for years now because his wife is sleeping with men in the wide open. And he's just sitting back and allowing it to happen. In that moment, it almost felt like he had to do something in order to secure his masculinity and make it seem like he is in control and he does have a grasp on things. He doesn't have a grasp on anything. If anything, that whole entire moment made me feel that he completely lacks masculinity. Oh my God, did Brandon say kink? Yes, he did. He did. Kids don't learn anything. Cursive is a lost art. You need a yin along with the yang to be whole. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Ties into the top meme I saw. Will Smith wanted Chris Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth, but he couldn't keep other men out of hers. For Will Smith, man. So when another man takes his wife, that is acceptable, but joking about his wife in a 25-year-old movie is crossing the line. Yeah. What money can't buy. 7 deadly sins is 7 virtues. Obviously, infidelity of any kind is perfectly fine. But she's gone on her talk show and talks about it, and she's been freaking out about the whole hair thing. Okay, so? That does not mean... look, she can be offended by it, and that's fine. I'm not saying that she can't be offended by the joke. Okay? How you take a joke is how you take a joke. Whatever. What I am trying to say is that Will Smith should have handled that a lot more. I want to say with a lot more grace. If his wife was insulted, okay, because he was laughing about it at first. If his wife was insulted, he could have looked to her and be like, "Hey, I'm sure he's fine." Or I'm sure what he said, he didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm sure that he was just trying to be funny. I'll have a talk with him later. I'm sure that once I tell him that you were insulted, he'll feel very badly. He'll come and apologize to you. I'm sure it'll be fine. Instead, Will Smith way overreacted and displayed something that was the opposite of masculinity, in my opinion. And it kind of leads me to this whole, she was offended. I know she was offended, and she can be offended. Being offended is going to happen in your life. It's going to happen. But how you take that offense is up to you. Now, what's weird in this situation is that she was offended and wasn't going to say anything, I guess. I mean, sure, maybe something would have happened later. But Will Smith decided to take up violence instead. That tells me that's the... I think that exhibits insecurity pretty big there. And don't get me wrong, we all fall short from time to time. I wanted to fight a dude who condescended to me over my dog the other day. You know, I told him to F off and, like, you know, called him an idiot. Don't get me wrong. We all have our moments where we kind of, like, lose it. I do, and I don't think I've met a man who hasn't at some point in time in his life. You know? But Will Smith knew that everyone was watching. He knew that what he was doing was going to be widely publicized, but he did it anyway. And it was to his friend. Again, could have been fake. I don't think it was. She has personal qualms about being bald, and there's a thing called wigs. I know, new technology. I think she does wear them from time to time, but I mean, look, you know, someone... I think Pickled Squirrel said it earlier. I mean, the bald look on black women looks really good. They can pull it off, man. For those of you who don't remember the famous Gillette ad, oh no, did they take it down? Oh no, it's right here. Okay. I really think that the left's view on toxic masculinity can be summed up in this ad. And for those of you who haven't seen it, or it's been a long time and you need your memory refreshed, I want to go through this ad because it kind of covers what I'm talking about. On the other hand, what was the last time the Oscars got this much buzz? Yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm from Indiana. What's up, Akatsuki? How you doing, man? I got riled up yesterday by the merest thought of a guy might have spoiled a friendship with our new pastor. See, yeah, people, look, there is righteous anger. There's definitely righteous anger. But what Will Smith displayed was not righteous anger. It almost felt like he had to get angry. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make any sense for him to go from laughing about the joke to going up there and assaulting someone that he probably considered his friend, definitely a colleague of some kind, and then screaming at him, "Keep your wife's name out your fucking mouth." Don't you think that's a little bit of an overreact, especially in the face of the fact that his wife is currently putting a lot of men in her mouth? Okay, let's move on. This is the Gillette toxic masculinity commercial.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity. Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
Okay, so already we're getting like assaulted with like these examples of toxic masculinity. You have boys chasing a kid in order to beat him up. You've got a kid who's clearly suffering from cyberbullying. His mother is trying to comfort him. Not his father, by the way. His father doesn't comfort him. Fathers don't comfort kids. Are you kidding me? And then you have these weird, like, examples of how, like, you know, we have since the days of old have been wired to view women as sex objects.
It's been going on far too.
And you have this, it's like this sitcom where this guy goes up to a black maid, by the way, and just grabs her butt. Haha, it's all funny. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Ooh. And these kids are watching it. He's such a like a misogynist. He's such a pig. Right? You're being assaulted with all of this at the very beginning of this commercial because they're trying to make a point. Men are problematic. Right?
Who's the daddy?
Oh, now we're at the corporate level, and a woman just said something, and he's about to mansplain it.
Actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual.
By the way, the one thing you don't do if you're trying to prove a point to everyone is put Anna Kasparian in your commercial. You don't do it. By the way, two boys wrestling on the ground is not toxic masculinity. Boys do that. The whole boys will be boys thing right there, that's just that they don't mean anything by it. Sometimes, yeah, it gets a little angry, but boys, I used to wrestle with my brother and my cousins and my friends on the playground. We would get physical, okay? That's what boys do. That's what they want to wrestle and play fight. They want to play football. They want to tackle. They want to kick balls around that and throw balls at each other. Like, it's just, that's what we do. One of my favorite games growing up, I was not a big kid growing up. I was like a bean pole, and the pole wasn't even that tall. One of my favorite games was dodgeball. Throwing balls at other people was like the height of fun for me. I used to be able, I love to catch them, get them out, throw it at someone else. You know, more than on one occasion have I been the last man standing, and I loved that game. You would think like a kid like that wouldn't like it. No, dude, it's fun. It's fun, and it has an element of danger to it. It has everything you need. I feel like I'm being abused by Brendan playing this commercial. I had to mute this. I don't have the time to... Come on! Man up. Did they really use actually? Actually. What's up, Jen? How you doing? They want to bite Pop-Tarts into guns, which, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I've done stuff like that before. You find a stick on the ground, and you break it until it looks like a gun. We used to do, or a sword. You find a big one, you've got a sword. That's just boys. It's how we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage that kind of stuff. One of my favorite moments when I knew that boys were boys was I was at my cousin's house, and they had two boys. And these boys they lived on a ranch, right? These boys could do everything. And they weren't even that old. I think the oldest one was like 12. But they were already doing all sorts of stuff that many like helicopter parents would just find they would be aghast. And they wanted to climb this tree and be able to climb it whenever they wanted to get up in the top branches. It's a pretty tall tree. And apparently one of them had taken a ladder, crawled up the tree, tied a rope around it, and then whenever they want to go up that tree, they can climb that rope into the branches and hang out in that tree. I remember when I was about that age, I would do this exact same. I would climb up to the top of trees. Like, that's just how we are. And I was like, man, imagine being able to be a boy and have that kind of lifestyle where you're able to take risks and go on adventures. You know? And yeah, they might fall off the tree. They might get hurt. They might break an arm or a leg. They might do something. I've run straight into barbed wire fences on an out-of-control bicycle before. Okay, do I look back and regret it? No. We used to have a rope that would hang from a tree, and we would ride our bikes as fast as possible. We would crest this hill, go flying into the air, and grab the rope that was hanging on the tree, drop the bike, and swing on the rope. Great times! I've fallen and knocked the air out of my... You know what I did after I knocked the air out of my chest from doing that, from falling down? I got back up and I did it again because that's just the way we are. Okay? But that's apparently toxic. Doing that, it's dangerous, it's toxic, that's not allowed anymore. Now, if you're not a part of like a freaking boys yoga class, you're out of line. Can I wrestle with your brother? Carrie, you're at a 10. I need you to take that thirst down to a 5. Or maybe even a 4. My brother just became a police officer, everybody. Very large, red-haired man. He's now a police officer in Galveston PD. So, congratulations for him. I have 3 sons. Yes, they fight incessantly. If I didn't hear thuds and screams and such while they were playing when they were little, I was afraid someone was actually unconscious. Or they were up to something. I've heard that multiple times, even from my own mother, where they were like, if things are very quiet, then something's wrong. If you're quiet, if you hear silence in a house full of boys, there's something wrong. Go check. I was the fat kid and held my own pretty well at dodgeball. Dude, dodgeball's so fun. I'm so mad. Years ago, they said that they wouldn't allow that in schools anymore. I think somewhere in the Austin area or something. I don't know. I was so mad. I was like, no, dodgeball is one of the greatest sports you can introduce a kid to. And if they don't want to play it, they're scared, but fine. But I mean, like, there's something fun about dodgeball. A good-natured game of dodgeball. If you get hit in the head, boing, it's, you know what? The balls were rubber. You know, shake your head, dust yourself off, get back in there. The last elementary school event had a parents versus kids dodgeball game. So cool. I can't tell you how many times I've stood I would love to play dodgeball with my parents. Are you kidding me? How many times I've stood side by side with men and said, boys will be boys, will be boys, will be boys. Actually, I can never. Next to live grills, by the way. By the way, preparing food, that's fine. That's not toxic because you're about to feed somebody. I would strategically aim dodgeballs and volleyballs for faces and, well, Carrie, wait, I climb trees. I'm not saying, oh my God. You're packing and moving to Galveston. Damn, Carrie, you're down bad. All right. I don't want to say that girls don't do any of this stuff, but do they do it at the level that boys do or the frequency that boys do? Not even a little bit. More often than not, whenever we were doing like very dangerous stuff like that, I had friends and cousins, sisters that were standing off to the side watching it happen. You know, that's what they liked to do. And you know what? That's fine. But men aren't afraid of getting dirty. They're not afraid of getting scratched up. They're not afraid of getting hurt. Well, you know, as boys. Now we're a little bit more cautious. Now we get out of bed and we can hurt our back. That's not as fun. But it just goes to show you, I mean, like, there definitely is a difference between boys and girls. All right, let's continue with this abomination of a commercial.
Assault and sexual harassment.
Some of these are clearly fake, but you had like Anna Kasparian who was real, and then you have all these reports. This one's fake, like 24 Hour News. This green screen woman sitting right here. This is fake. You know, I can't tell which. This one might be real. This one might be real, but the rest of these are. This one might be. The rest of these are clearly fake.
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right.
This part to me, this is like so ridiculous. Men are expected to approach women. They're expected to pursue women, even in this day and age, right? And this guy sees a pretty girl and he wants to go talk to her. And his friend who's just coming out of the store catches him just in time. Hang on, bro. Okay, don't talk to that girl.
Way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Not cool. How is that not cool? I see TikToks so often about girls complaining that men don't really pursue them anymore, that they don't want relationships anymore. And it's like, well, what do you expect when you see ads like this or the mainstream culture telling men that pursuing women is somehow bothersome and that, you know, it's sexual harassment to even try to pursue a girl romantically, a stranger, if you will. You know, like, we're not allowed to talk to women anymore, as this ad just demonstrates. That's bad. No. Bad idea. Bro, get lost. That's so stupid. You want to know what is?
Already are.
I'll continue in a second.
In ways big
Yo, men, we're acting like we gonna shake it.
and small.
It's a man talking to his daughter, by the way, saying that, not his son. Why in an ad about men? In that moment, this is a moment in this ad where it's talking about how men can be leaders of other men. You have a father not talking to his son, but to his daughter, telling her that and making her repeat him, "I am strong." Not her, not the son, the daughter. These two kids are having fun, and that's wrong of them. They can't be doing that.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay?
Yes, it is. Okay, a man stopping another a kid from being bullied, perfectly fine. That is absolutely fine. Bullies are there. Bullies happen. And a man this was actually a good example. A man stepping in and stopping bullying from happening is exactly the right kind of masculinity. But again, they tend to mix, and I've said this before, when it comes to propagandizing, the hard left tends to introduce truths, but doesn't tell you the whole story. So that way the story seems more believable, or the event or the subject at hand seems more believable, but they kind of toxify it with wrong information. So they can start with something that is a kernel of the truth and make it into something that it's not.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
It's only by challenging ourselves to do more that we can get closer to our best. What a horrible ad. What an awful ad. It made men out to be absolute villains, pigs, just absolutely bothersome to women. It made boyhood, things that we do, seem toxic. And then it said, all of that stuff, we got to get rid of it. We got to reset. We can't have this. You need to be more passive. You need to make your boys more passive. You need to take men and turn them into something they're not. Because we need to be better. And it's those moments where men feel as if they can't be men anymore, and they feel bad about being themselves, and it creates moments like this. Men can't help but be men, and they should not be asked to be anything but men. And if you try to take that away from themselves, some things are going to happen that are, they range from violence like you see here, and this is just a slap. I think that there is an attack on masculinity that has sent many men to seek firearms and to shoot up innocent people. I think that's the epitome of violence. And I wouldn't, they call that toxic masculinity. It wasn't toxic masculinity. And I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to sympathize with these bad guys, but I mean, it just goes to show you how sometimes trying to strip a man of his own essence can lead him to doing things that are disruptive, are violent, are evil. Men are perfectly capable of reaching desperate heights. And I think that this is just one of those moments. And you see this idea of how bad men are, how evil, how bothersome, how problematic men are, perfectly encapsulated in that commercial that you just watched. That's the kind of view that they have of men, and it's not right. Bill Maher nails the left again, this time on toxic masculinity, and I kind of wanted to cover this because Maher's been really nailing it for me lately, man. blue shirt guy be like, I'm just here for the $25. They hate masculinity, but the second there is a spider in the house. Dude, true. It's amazing how fun, like, masculinity is hated until, like, the sewers need to be fixed. Spiders need to be killed. Oil needs to be changed. Wars need to be fought. It's just like the moment it happens, suddenly masculinity is back in vogue. Guys get married and lose half their stuff a few years later. No wonder they don't want to be around us. I deal with tech. He deals with icky things. So there is and this is going to be a whole nother stream, and I could go on about this for a long time, but there is definitely a reason that men aren't approaching the dating pool anymore. And I think I've mentioned this before. We could cover this as a topic at some point. Maybe we'll cover it on Friday. Because I've talked about this before in great length. And it is, in my opinion, very easy to see why. Many men like my age and younger just have not. I mean, more so my age. They have married. I got married, and we kind of dove into it. But I think that you're seeing Gen Z and any generation that is coming after that. They're going to kind of see that marriages. And look at all over the place. They see that marriages fail. They're scared to engage with women who have been taught by third wave feminists that men are horrible and they need to slay queen, yas queen, that men shouldn't, they have no feelings, that they are expressly there to serve. Women are taught by third wave feminists that what to expect from a man, but never are taught how a man thinks or what their needs are or anything like that. Nothing like that. And so you see men just kind of walking away, and you see a lot of women, I see it on TikTok all the time, asking, where are they going? Where are all of the men? Why won't anyone date me? It's like, it's because you've been taught to be useless. After Me Too, if you weren't married, would you walk up to a female on the street and hit on her? I mean, yeah, Carrie, that's a good point. I'm sure many men were scared because it was actually kind of deemed problematic for men to talk to women. You never knew which woman was going to start going, oh, well, this is pure harassment. That's scary. Boys get in trouble at school for displaying play guns, but allowing them to play gun video games at home. Video games have been one of the best things for boys ever invented, in my honest opinion. That's also another stream. But because boys nowadays they're not allowed to be adventurous in much of our society anymore. And the only way that they could find that outlet was in video games. That's where they have to go. Everything else is now toxic. It's too dangerous. You got helicopter parents telling on other parents and calling CPS on parents because their kids are playing unsupervised out in the front yard. And so they go to video games. And I think video games have been a godsend, to be honest with you, for many boys and men. Brad, that's not true. Spiders all need to die. No, they don't. Spiders are your friend. When the bug season is coming. It's coming. You know what I like to do? I like to make sure that spiders around my house survive. If they ever get into my house, I pick them up and I take them outside and I put them out there so that they can eat the bugs. They are my allies in the war. And Gillette was the only company that lost P&G money. Big money. Yep, that is actually very true what Carrie is saying. So after that Gillette ad dropped, P&G was doing announcing all its, gains from that year, and every single one of their properties and their brands made money, with the exception of Gillette, which lost billions that year. What's funny is the CEO was like, I don't regret it. Yeah, you do, dude. Shut up. On your Me Too comment, it would take a 10 and a nearly 100% certainty of interest. I'm a catch and release type with the critters. I nabbed a snake at CPAC and the lady editor scrambled as I was placing it back into the bushes. See, it's funny. Men, if left to their own devices, would probably keep a lot of these predators around. Spiders, snakes, you know, with the exception of like the big predators, which might actually kill their livestock. But like around their house, like you know, a suburban guy like me, I want little garden snakes, and or even bigger garden snakes. I want them to be around the area, and I want spiders around the area, because if they're not, then all these critters, they get in, man. They will find a way in. Those spiders stop them cold. We actually have a really, really bad rabbit overpopulation around our area. Like, they're everywhere. Especially, I bet they're about to spring back up during the springtime. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, a few snakes here and a hawks there wouldn't go amiss. I'm not saying I want the entire population wiped out. I like rabbits. Rabbits are great. But obviously, an overpopulation happens and it just destroys everything. There was, my backyard for a while looked like it had mange because rabbits would come under the fence and like eat our grass. You're being very kind since I'm sitting here, Brad. I think I actually threatened your life if you brought it anywhere near me. That's funny. Good on you, Brad. I don't mind snakes, spiders. No, we have an arrangement. Or we have an agreement. Oh, man, what is it with women? Women, what is it with spiders? Why do y'all hate spiders so much? I'm actually curious. Like, y'all can't, like, there's something about them that just, like, makes your, that makes your fight or flight just go nuts. Rabbit, it's delicious. I've never had rabbit. I've never had it. I would actually like to try it. I'm up to trying almost anything once. Except for dog. I won't try that. I would just be too sad. This is from Thomas LeDuc. Bill Maher sure knows how to pick up some sand and controversy at people that he is politically aligned with. Now, I know some people think that this is an act, and if that is true, that would be a shame. However, I'm beginning to think he's one of the rare individuals that is 100% committed to speaking his mind and ticking off whoever it may be, come hell or high water. Maher, of course, is no conservative in any way, shape, or form, but this trait of his telling it as he sees it is refreshing to see. I have covered his view on the world before, like from my article earlier this year over at Red State VIP. Definitely, by the way, sign up for the VIP program. If you haven't already, you will get more content than is available to those who are not signed up. You can use promo code Morse to sign up for a discount. Trust me, you won't regret it. I write a VIP post pretty much every day. So if you want to catch that, go check it out. Go sign up. Promo code Morse, M-O-R-S-E. Do it. Even though Maher is a traditional liberal, I still support his... Oh, that was something here. Go and read this article, and you can read the whole thing. Here's the latest example of Maher saying the right thing and flamethrowing his political side while doing it. From The Blaze, Bill Maher laced into liberals who attack men for having supposed, quote, toxic masculinity. The Real Time with Bill Maher host used Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, I can never say this guy's name right, and men taking up arms to defend Ukraine from the Russian invasion as examples of how masculinity can be anything but toxic. If there's one thing we've learned from the crisis in Ukraine, it's that everyone loves and the world still needs grown-ass men. Dude, amen. Maher noticed that American women are obsessing over Zelensky, who the New York Post and forward labeled as a, quote, sex symbol earlier this month. Maher stressed that progressives can't consider Zelensky a sex symbol while also denouncing masculinity as toxic. True. The liberal talk show host jokingly hypothesized, could it be that as much as women may want to create the perfect man, there's always going to be a little bit of toxic mixed in with our masculinity, and no amount of training will turn us into your favorite Twilight character? Say what you will about Bill Maher, man. Whenever he is on, man. Whenever he's right, he's so right. And that is 100% accurate. I think that men aren't perfect, obviously. Men aren't perfect. We have our flaws. Trust me, I know I do. But to sit there and say that the very essence of a man is bad, it's like saying that, like, fish are bad because they swim. Fish are bad because they can't breathe air. You know? They have to live underwater. They're not bad for that. Men aren't bad for being masculine. Men aren't bad for being men. In fact, if we embraced it more, we might actually have a society that isn't as topsy-turvy as it is. Okay? I think that women clearly appreciate actual masculinity, as seen by the way that many are sitting there treating Zelensky as a sex symbol. I think that there is a disconnect here for women. They want masculinity, but they feel, I think many of them feel as if they have to denounce it because their third-wave feminist mothers said they had to. Their third-wave feminist mothers gave them this idea about how problematic men are, and now how these traits that they show are just bad and toxic and da-da-da-da-da. But deep down inside, nature is nature, and they love that masculinity. There's something about a man swinging an axe that just gets a woman started. I think that masculinity is more than desired in this in our society by women. And I think that they have been told that their feelings about it are wrong. And so they outwardly say one thing while inwardly desire another. And I see polls a lot that talk about how women are unhappy in this day and age. And you see a whole bunch of TikToks where women are trying to ask where all these men are. Why is marriage declining so fast? How come women can't seem to get dates? It's because there's a disconnect. They want one thing, but they've been told they want another. And they, with all their heart, believe both. I can get on that. That maybe we will do this. Maybe we'll, for like Friday or Wednesday stream, I'll talk more about this. Because I think it is important. If women want to know why men are disappearing, I'll tell you why. I know why. I've looked into it. And I got to tell you, women are probably going to get mad about it. I can tell you, women are not going to be pleased with it. But the truth is the truth. The day will come we run into a rattler at the range, Jennifer. It'll be fine. I stood up with it, and Jennifer was already in the parking. Did you take... Jen just turns into the Flash. Nothing should have more limbs than me. No bug in the house. If you don't pay rent, you're evicted. See, look, spiders, I feel like if you have spiders in the house, just take them outside. They'd rather be outside. That's where all the food is. Let them go and let them eat the bugs. Let them eat the food. Because otherwise, those bugs are going to invade your house. They're the thin black line. Sex simple. We treat our men like our girlfriends. Yeah. Pickle squirrel, I can't. Wow. You nailed it. But I mean, like, women don't know otherwise nowadays. They don't. And when I say women, I'm sure some of you older women do understand. I know that a lot of women my age and younger don't know that. They don't understand that men aren't their girlfriends, that they're not going to be like their girlfriends at all. And again, this goes back to the fact that women my age and younger have been grown up under this idea, raised under this idea that they can expect things from a man. They're taught what to expect from a man, but they're not taught what men are, how they are, and only the toxic traits. But they don't know how to treat a man. They don't know how they think. They don't know what to expect from them. They don't know anything. They're strictly taught what to expect from men and how they should be treated by men, what they should be given by men. And so they don't know that men aren't like them, that they have certain desires. And I'm not just talking about sexual desires. I'm talking about, like, how they think, what they want to do on the daily. That sometimes they're just not going to find interest in things that you find interesting. It's not that we don't want to connect with you. It's just that, it just doesn't interest us. It's not our cup of tea. Our interest is going to be something that y'all think is completely stupid, you women. But we think it's amazing. Bill Maher did a Sunday special with Ben Shapiro, really interesting. He is still a liberal. He's still a leftist. Yeah. I hate that word liberal. Bill Maher, I will say this, man. Anybody who, I'm okay, with him. Leftists there's going to be leftists. There's going to be people who are going to vote Democrat and just kind of think in that general direction, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't care. What I really like, though, is whenever even a leftist can look at the situation and see the ridiculousness in it. Bill Maher has the benefit of being a comedian. Comedians do tend to see the ridiculousness in things far better than many humorists do, far better than many normal people do. And so I think Bill Maher is utilizing his ability to see society without its clothes on, without its, veils and makeup and all that stuff, and kind of get down really to the core of what is going on. And he still might disagree with me on the ends, on what to make of it or how to solve problems, but I still like the fact that he can recognize it, and that's cool. I appreciate firemen and policemen. Me too! I hang out with firemen and policemen. They're all right. I have a family of firemen and policemen, and so I have a lot of respect for them. Read my piece on Ukraine. Dennis! Yeah, never mind. Noobtindo did it for you. Red State, redstate.com has the author page for many authors. If you look right now, Noobtindo has has put in Dennis's author page. It's there right there. Click on it. A lot of good stuff to read there. They're the thin black limb. I had a conversation with a guy for most of the day Saturday about this guy's not committing thing. He and I agreed about the issues, and it's everyone else's loss because I'm seeing him again Thursday. Good! Are you seeing him, Jen? If so, good job. And the women who do these TikToks that humiliate their men, oh yeah. Oh, it's horrible. I almost wish I was in the dating pool now with so many men choosing to back out of it. Lighter competition. Oh, Brad. I like the toxic masculine male. It's mansplaining that annoys me. I would like to understand what you mean by... You know what? Let's do this. All right. How about Wednesday, next stream, we talk about this. I'm kind of out of time. We'll talk about this more. I have some things I do want to talk about in terms of this and kind of explain what the situation between men and women is and why men have left the dating pool, why they're way less likely to approach women. But in the meantime... Guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. As always, this was super fun. I think we covered a lot of great topics today. And this is one of my favorite topics to cover. Because I think that men really are... They're not viewed well nowadays. And I feel like they're not viewed well for all the wrong reasons. And so I think that if we actually step back up and put men back in a place where they are appreciated and loved and liked and complimented and celebrated for the things that they accomplish and do for everybody, I think this world will be a much better place. But it's not going to become a better place if you've got dudes feeling like they need to hit other dudes for insulting their wife that's sleeping around on them. This is a perfect example of how wrong things have gotten in our society when it comes to men. Perfect example. Because you got to think about it. A dude went up to his friend, and slapped him across the face for telling a joke. A mere joke. On stage at a major public event where it would be the most embarrassing instead of just handling it calmly and rationally like a man should. In any case, guys, thank you guys so much for stopping in. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Be here, noon Eastern. Go to redstate.com right now. Everything I've just talked about is on that site. Go follow me at the Brendan Morse. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Peace!